Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shakeout. Hope you all managed to get set up all right and your travel over was all good. I think we've not managed to dodge the rain. Nick, our MD, is saying that every Shakeout this year has been bone dry. So it's the first rain we've had, but it seems to be doing all right. So yeah, we're here today, starting off the weekend with a talk, and we've got Paul here.
Hello, thanks everyone for coming. I expected one or two of you, but I'm impressed. It's about 50 people.
Yeah, perfect.
In fact, I'm glad these lights are here because I can't see you all because I'm a bit nervous. This is the first time I've done this kind of thing before, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. It's first for me as well. My name's Samuel, by the way. I'm one of the Alpkit crew. I work in the marketing team. So my day today is basically just speaking to great people like Paul and Harrison in the corner and like other people like Al Humphreys. And I work closely with our ambassadors. So it's nice to meet the people in face to face rather than just emailing them day to day. But yeah, really looking forward to it. So I suppose we'll get going. I suppose the way it'll run today is I've got some questions written down. I'll ask Paul some of the questions and then I'll give the mic to you guys. And then if anyone's got any questions, put your hands up. I'll come find you and then we'll work it like that. Just nice, relaxed, chilled. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, sounds fine to me.
Yeah, perfect. Lovely. Would everyone like to come in? Come on in. We've got loads of space down here as well. We have got some sit mats. So come in.
There's a buffet at the front.
Yeah. Perfect. Lovely. Trickle in, trickle in. Perfect. Is that everyone? Yeah, we all good? Perfect. So, Paul, a few quick questions just to start it off. Nice, quick, easy one, so people get to know you really. What's your favourite thing to do?
Oh, so my wife sat over there, so I'm a tempt fate and say go camping.
Oh right, oh perfect. Well, I'm glad. Hot or cold weather?
I prefer cold weather. So yeah, I'm not one of these people that just only comes out when it's sunshine. I actually prefer it when there's a little bit challenging conditions.
Yeah. Is that because you're more alone, you're less likely to see people out there, and you like that sort of solidarity? Or?
No, I get more views when the weather's rubbish.
Oh yeah, those dramatic pictures on the.
People like to see me suffer.
Oh okay, I see. Yeah, well, I suppose it's makes for a good video and a fun video. What's your favourite brew on the hill?
Well, I'm drinking Jaipur tonight, which is a really tasty beverage. But if anyone watches my videos, I like a Brewdog.
Oh, okay.
The Punk IPA is still my favourite. I've tried loads of different ones. I'm reluctant to pay big bucks you can pay 10 quid for some cans of beer, but stick to what you know. It tastes good.
I've always seen in your videos. I've been watching your videos for a long time, long before I started working in the outdoors. And do you always take a beer with you? No,
not always. But it helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when you've climbed up the hill, the mountain, whatever it is, it's nice to just chill out, crack open a beer, cook a steak. Well, you know, what's better than that?
Wow. Yeah, fair enough. I've never done a steak myself, but maybe.
Have you tried the dehydrated meals?
Well, yeah, a few.
And which is better, steak or dehydrated meals?
Well, yeah, dehydrated.
Yeah. We've got a man over there, this man over there. I know I'm shouting him out, but he knows how to cook meals on the hill. So check out Harrison, fellow foodie. He'll show you how it's done.
Yeah, Harrison's got lots of events on this weekend. So yeah, have a look at the BSO events, and you'll be able to find Harrison there. Perfect. So, are you an early bird then, or a night owl with the wild camping?
Oh, it depends. I'm an early bird when it's wild camping. Hang on.
You got a friend. It's all right. It's gone.
But Joe has to wake me up sometimes at 11 o'clock when I'm at home, so it's a weird one. I like to catch the sunrise. I like to see a sunset. I'm usually up pretty late, but I'm always up. Set my alarm for the sunset just in case.
Okay. Perfect.
You always get that funny feeling. You zip the tent down and you open it up and you think, nah, we'll zip it back up again. And then we'll go back to bed for a little bit.
Oh, perfect. Can you guys still hear us all right? Yeah, cool. We were worrying about this.
They timed it perfectly, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Led Zeppelin, whoever is next door.
Perfect. So you said steak then. What is your favourite camping food?
I've said it. It's steak. Steak, asparagus, mushrooms.
Wow.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Do you guys, when you think of camping food, do you think of steak, asparagus, and do you put a bit of spices on there as well? Any seasoning or anything like that?
I've got steak seasoning, and I put that on everything, whether it's chips, whether it's.
And how big's your bag?
Sometimes, so recently I've been out in as little as 22 litres.
That's
so
amazing,
it's a very small pack.
Wow.
I didn't take steak that night, like, but.
Oh, right, yeah.
But yeah, I can get away most times with around 40 litres.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and is that for winter as well, or is it for both summer and winter?
I'm going to do a little bit of a challenge this year where I've got this feature where I've got this little tiny tent and I want to do some tiny adventures. So I'm going to be trying to get all of my camping into like a 30-litre-ish pack and do one of those camps all year round, just to prove that it can be done.
Yeah.
Every month of the year, camp with 30 litres and to see how it goes.
Yeah, I suppose that's really good because I suppose for some people, they're not fortunate enough to have lots of different tents, lots of different sleeping bags and all this, and be able to have one setup that will get through the year is really relevant. Is that something you would be a big advocate for, or do you?
I think it's difficult because most people they haven't got the money to, like say, to buy lots of different items. The ideal scenario is that you've got one setup that will last you all year round, and you're not in the real world. You're not going to do that for 30 litres. It will be probably 40 to 50 litres. You can get a setup that will last most people all year round.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Something to think about, guys. Okay. So speaking about gear, what was your favourite piece of camping gear then? That is very correct. And Alex doesn't work for Alpha.
Oh, gosh. I feel like I'm under pressure now.
No, you can...
it's difficult. There's not many bits of kit that come with me on every single camp. I think the sleeping kit is the most important thing for me. So it's a comfortable sleeping pad. That's my favourite bit of kit. The Alp-Kit one's all right, to be fair. The Whisper, is it?
Yeah, the Whisper.
Yeah, very comfortable, but it's not the warmest. I'm gonna have to tell you off and say that the Sea to Summit one for me that I've got is more comfortable.
No worries.
Not more comfortable, a little bit warmer, shall we say?
Well, if Rowan's knocking about, Rowan's our product designer. You might see him. He's the site manager also here. So hopefully, if we speak loud enough, he might hear that.
Yeah.
But I'll make sure I tell him on Monday. So perfect. Lovely. And then speaking of, well, I suppose we'll just lead on to a bit about your history really and how everything started out. So what got you started into the outdoors?
So I used to play football and played for football far too long, to be honest. I retired eventually when I was 40. Played at a really high level, Sunday League. And I needed something to replace that. So before that, I started watching bushcraft videos. So Ray Mears, I thought he was like a god. He could like live off stuff that would make most of us feel sick. And so I got into the bushcraft game to start off with, and that was going to be replacing my football. So that was my outdoors. I wanted to be a bushcrafter. I wanted to make fires from bow drills, all that kind of stuff, live off nettles and mushrooms, that kind of stuff. But it's no steak or asparagus, is it really?
Yeah, very right. Nah. Nettles. I'm scared of nettles. Every time I go out for a run, I'll tactically avoid nettles. It's just the devil's plant. But and then leading on from that, like when did you find your passion for wild camping?
So again, it was I was watching a lot of. Suddenly, I found this hobby that I liked, and I found YouTube, and I started consuming as much YouTube as I could. And there was this guy called Dean Reed. Has anyone watched Dean Reed?
Yeah.
Yay! We've got one in the room. He's a legend. He doesn't make many videos anymore, but he was the main man in the time. We're going back 5 or 6 years now, and he made loads of videos about bushcraft and the Peak District. So it's sort of transitioned that I saw some of his videos of the Peak District. I thought, I want a bit of that. So I went up and looked at some of the hills and fell in love with them. You know, when you get to the top of Mamtor and you're looking down at that snaky road and the wind's like taking your hair off, you just can't help but fall in love with it.
Yeah, a lot of wild camping then.
Yeah,
Definitely a lot of time on the hills.
Yeah.
So did it all start off for you in the Peak District then?
I would say so, yeah. Other than the woodland stuff, which is, it can be anywhere woodland. It can be, just around the corner from your house. But the real hills for me, because I live in Sheffield now, but before that, the Peak District was the closest for me. So that's where I fell in love with the place.
Okay, yeah. And then when did you start to venture out in some of the other areas, like the lakes or Yorkshire Dales?
It wasn't far afterwards.
Yeah.
There's plenty of places in the Peak District, though, to adventure to first. But, I wanted to explore more places. I've done there's a chap there. He's a Dartmoor lad. I've never been to Dartmoor, which is the only place where you can actually legally wild camp still. Fortunately, just about. Yeah. So it's somewhere that I need to go. I'd love to do all of the 15 national parks at some point.
Yeah, well, it'll it's best to get your spreadsheet open and start ticking them off. But okay, perfect. And how did you find that your YouTube videos motivated you to go and find all these different places?
So YouTube was a bit of an accident. I never set out to do YouTube. It was one of those things. I was doing bushcraft at a time, and a friend said to me that he'd made a YouTube video, and he bet everybody that was sat around the campfire to make a YouTube video. So I made one, put it out there, and it was crap. But I enjoyed the process of it all. So that's how it started for me. And I started using YouTube as a place to find new ideas, find places to go. There's lots of other platforms now. There's your Instagrams and TikToks and all that kind of stuff that weren't really around when I first started. But there's loads of inspiration to get out there. You just have to get off the settee really and go for it.
Yeah. And for people that are wanting to aspire to set up a YouTube channel, what would your best bit of advice be for those sort of people?
It's I think if you go out and set out to think, I want to be a YouTuber and it's going to be my career, then you're in it for the wrong reason. I did it it was my hobby. I learned so much from YouTube. In fact, everything that I learned from my bushcraft and stuff like that was from hours of watching YouTube videos. And I thought I wanted to give a little bit back, and it sort of accidentally grew. But if you decide that I want to be a YouTuber, it's unlikely to happen. I got it by accident, and I feel very fortunate for it. I'm not saying it can't happen for anybody, but don't pin all your hopes on it. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So it's a big platform. There's thousands and thousands of people out there, and I think it's good to share your message, and it's a great platform for that. So I encourage it, but don't pin all your hopes on just being a YouTuber.
Yeah, more about the enjoyment. Is that where it's...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you get into it, it's addictive. Just like wild camping. First time you do it, your bumhole is going like this. You hear a little tiny noise, and it's like you think there's a bear outside, and it's actually a beetle crawling up the outside of your tent. Honestly, it is. But once you got over that, it's fantastic, and you get the bug for it, and then you start thinking, I need this gear, I need that gear. And I'll be honest with you, the first time that I went wild camping, I have never ever surpassed that feeling. So the gear that I used then, I've had the best feeling ever. So it's not about the gear, it's about the experience. So don't go chasing the best tent. Don't go chasing the best sleeping bag or whatever it is. It's nice to have better gear. Don't get me wrong, but the gear won't make your trip. It's the experience and what you make of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Really, it's exactly right. But just touching on the YouTube side of things, obviously you enjoy it so much. You really enjoy it, and I love taking videos. We've all got phones nowadays that can just snap anything. But how long does it actually take you to make a video?
It's not as long as you think. Shut up. Who invited you? It was me because I needed some moral support. No, it's one of those things. I'll go out and I'll film it, which is it's not a big thing. You just stick the camera there and just talk to it. And the editing, what do you reckon? 3 hours, 4 hours? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes a full weekend. Seems like 3 or 4 hours to me. Yeah, so Joe's answered full weekend.
Yeah. Well, it's I suppose it's worth it for the memories that you're making along the way. And do you ever look back on your videos when you're making them, or do you?
Not very often. I don't often look back. It's just every now and again. I just think that I want to try and make the next one better than the last one. It's not always the case, but situation doesn't. You just have to follow how it goes.
Oh, perfect. And when you was obviously, wild camping's always been your passion. YouTube's always been your passion on the side. How did you find that transition from it being your hobby to then it becoming, well, your day-to-day work, really?
So that was a bit of a strange one. So it got to the point where I was making sort of as much money from YouTube as I was from my day job. And I thought, I need to do this, I need to do that. But I didn't have the balls to do it. Joe's got bigger balls than me, haven't you, darling? And she says, you need to follow your passion and just go for it. So if it wasn't for Joe encouraging me, I wouldn't have done it. I swapped over, and for the first 6 months, it was brilliant. I was living my dream. And then it started to get a little bit tough because it was a big change for me. I'd gone from working in a factory with lots of people, lots of banter, workmates, all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly I was a one-man band, and I wasn't used to that. So I'd done however many years, 25 years of working in teams and stuff, and it was all new to me. So it hit me hard a little bit. So eventually I've got around that, transitioned a little bit, still have my bad days, but overall it's a better lifestyle that I've got. I wouldn't swap it for the world, and I definitely don't want to go back to a food factory.
Yeah, well, I suppose in the working life, we're always, well, for a lot of people, it's 9-5, Monday, Friday, obviously some work weekends here, then everywhere. Have you managed to sort of transition that into like the YouTube lifestyle? Like, what sort of approach do you take? Do you go out each week thinking, oh, I'm going to make a video this week, or no, I'm going to have a couple of days off, do some editing, maybe do a bit of storyboarding, or?
We've been talking about it tonight. I still treat it like a hobby, and I shouldn't do. I should treat it more like a business. I don't plan as much as I should do. I don't know where I'm going next. I don't know what day I'm going out next. Most of the time, I need some encouragement from the gaffer to say, you need to start earning a bit of money. It's a tough one. It's a brilliant job, but it's a double-edged sword, really. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Everyone sees the life as a YouTuber being glamorous, flash cars and stuff like that. I've got a broken down Land Rover, so it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's all. Sometimes you look at these videos of other people and other YouTubers, and it's all made out to be such an amazing lifestyle, but in reality, like you're saying, it can sometimes just be tough.
Absolutely. It's my hobby now is my job. So that's the reality of it. But it's better than the job I had before, so much better. I get to spend a lot more time with my family. I get to do what I want when I want. I just should do it more often. if that makes sense.
So obviously now your hobby has become your day job, but still feels like a hobby. What do you actually do in your spare time?
I watch far too much YouTube. Honestly, I don't watch any television, so AirPods are brilliant, aren't they? So Jo can watch whatever she wants on the telly, and I watch my crap on YouTube. But it's one of those things that I find it inspirational to see that what you can achieve. Everyone now, you've all got phones in your pockets. You can all film something, and so many people are doing it now. So there's that many ideas, that many different perspectives, that many personalities. It's not just about the ideas and stuff. You get to everybody who gets their camera out and puts it on YouTube is like a real life soap opera, so to speak. You get your characters and stuff like that, and everyone loves their own particular YouTubers. Again, I was talking to that chap down there, and you've got your 2 or 3 that you love watching, don't you? And everyone will be the same. You feel like you're joining in with their life a little bit, and it's more real than what you're watching on television sometimes.
Yeah, I do agree. And I think that's the beauty of YouTube, that it just doesn't feel as polished. It's just much more relatable, and you can enjoy watching it, and you can watch it anywhere. I always stick mine on the table if I'm on my own, just chilling out, and if I'm having a bit of food or whatever. But yeah, what's your favorite? What do you enjoy watching then? What is like your?
Oh dear. So I'm a bit of a nerd for information. So obviously I watch the stuff that I shouldn't do on how to be a better YouTuber, that kind of crap. Because I don't think there's a way. You just have to be you, and either people like you or they don't. It's one of those things. I watch a lot of other camping ones as well because I like the inspiration for new places to go. I love the scenery. So, sometimes when I'm sat at home and it's chucking it down with rain, I can put somebody else on and look at their beautiful views. So there's something for everybody. That's the thing, whether you are 6 years old or 70 years old, there's something on YouTube that is your interest.
Well, that's it's the beauty of the platform, and I'm sure it'll just keep on growing, and then getting even more, just getting better and better.
Definitely, yeah. Hopefully.
So, obviously, you've got 2 channels. You've got one for your trips, and then we've got one now for your gear. Did you bring that in? How long have you been running that one on the side for?
So YouTube's a little bit weird when it comes to algorithms and stuff like that. You've got different sorts of audiences, so I want to try and use the main channel just for camping and adventures and all that kind of stuff, and the second channel for everything else, gear reviews and just little things like that.
And so speaking about gear and stuff like that, like what is if you're given the choice between lightweight or comfort, like which one would you choose?
Comfort every time now. I've been down the road of trying to get as light as possible, but it makes no difference when you're carrying a bit of timber. So what's the point though in cutting your toothbrush in half when you've got like a 44-inch waist, honestly? Seriously, people do that, don't they? They'll have the DCF tent or whatever it is, and they can barely breathe when you're climbing up a hill. So it's nice to have, and it's definitely easier carrying less weight than it is heavier stuff. But ultimately, comfort is king for me. Although I do like to put myself through the mill sometimes and go small and bivvy and in a coffin, that kind of stuff. It's interesting, it's a challenge, and gets a lot of views.
Yeah. I suppose you're saying about the whole cutting your toothbrush in half and all that sort of stuff, and going super lightweight or wearing the same clothes for a week, or if people are doing multi-day hikes. How do you feel about the move to ultra lightweight trends, the pursuit of weight saving sacrifice on other things, and whether that sort of bleeds into the versatility of the product and how long it lasts for?
So recently, I did the Cumbria Way, which is, we did over 80 miles, which is not bad for me. And obviously weight of your gear plays a factor in that. So you want to get it as light as possible. But you've also got to, it's got to work, it's got to be durable, it's got to be practical. Multi-purpose gear is better, obviously. So if you've got something that, like a poncho that turns into a tarp, for example, not that I did that on the Cumbria Way, but the more versatile your kit is, the better. Some people won't bring a bit of gear unless it does more than one thing, which I'm not that anal about it. It's just the more efficient your gear is and the more lightweight it is, the easier it is to carry.
Yeah, I suppose that's really valuable advice, because for some people they see these really cool routes, so like the coast to coast, Wainwright's coast to coast being like one of the main ones, and people go into it, or for example people do DV and then they'll do something like that and they're not 100% sure. So what would your best advice be for people attempting those sort of things from a gear perspective?
I think it depends. So most people don't want to do those kind of challenges. Most people just want to go out and have a nice night camping, a little bit of a beer maybe, and steak and asparagus again. But if you want to do the longer treks, then you need to be very careful about what you buy. Don't just buy what somebody says you should, what one person says you should buy. Do your own research. Do what's going to work best for you. Try lots of reviews. It depends on the style of camping that you like to do. So some people like tarp camping, other people don't. They like to be fully protected by a tent. So it depends. Everybody's different when it comes to camping.
I suppose, like you're saying, a lot of people just go out for single nights. For people that are even just getting into that and they're going to maybe do their first solo. Like, I've seen a couple of comments on some of your videos where, you inspired me to go out for my first solo. I did my first solo after watching some of your videos. I'm not just saying that because Paul's there. It's actually true. And so yeah, what would be your advice really for getting over that barrier of the outdoors, especially coming into winter? It's going to be darker months. It's going to be colder. People are going to be like, I don't really want to go out, but I really want to go out, but there's no one there with me. It's like, the back and forth. So
it is very difficult to motivate yourself when it's chucking it down the rain. But if you want to get out there and have a go at it, it's easier first if you're naturally an outdoors person. I don't recommend somebody who normally just sits there and watches television to suddenly go out wild camping. If you've got to break yourself into it gently. Do a few hikes first, get familiar with locations, look at areas that could be potential wild camping spots. So normally, it doesn't, not so much now, but back in the day, I would check a place out first. I would go for a walk there during the day. Then I would get a few backup spots as well. So a lot of the places now, wild camping is incredibly popular now. I recently went on a Facebook page, Wild Camping UK, 100,000 plus people on there now. So everybody seems to be loving it. So when you go to Derwent Edge or places like that now, on a Saturday, you can't get camped. You can't get camped on the Woolpacks on a Saturday night because it's that popular now, which is great, but you need to have a backup if somebody's already there. So go during the day, check out these spots, find a backup place that's maybe a bit out of the way, more off the beaten track. Test your gear. So if you've got some gear to test it in your back garden. Go to a campsite, make sure it works at the temperatures you're going to be camping in. You don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on gear. You can get a tent that's 120 quid, soloist outfit there. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Good plug.
You could buy a tent for 120 quid that will do you just fine. Sleeping pads, they're really expensive now. Some of them. That is where I would spend my money. Tent, sleeping pad. than sleeping bag. But it's one of those things that you just have to make sure that your gear works in the conditions that you're going to be. Have a backup plan if you're not sure where you're going to be camping. Just feel comfortable in doing it.
And I suppose it's also with wild camping, it's also about being respectful of the surroundings and like going there late, leaving early. That sort of whole wild camping motto. Is there anything else you would add on to that?
Leave no trace. Yeah, no, it's one of those things that I think you've got to read the situation. Now, they say that you camp above the highest wall, all that kind of stuff. Don't pitch up until like an hour before sunset. But if you've not seen a soul and you're in the middle of nowhere and it's like 90 minutes before, then I can't see it being a problem. Just be respectful. If the landowner, for some reason, obviously you've asked permission to camp there, but if the landowner asks you to move, you just say, yeah, no problem. Or you just say, I'm not causing any problems. Is it okay if I leave in the morning? You can normally reason with people. I've never actually been moved. If you try and wild camp just outside someone's back garden, then they're going to see you. Be reasonable about it. If you're walking 3 or 4 miles, then the farmer's not going to walk 3 or 4 miles to come and ask you to move, is he? So it's common sense, really.
Well, thank you. So we're going to open up the questions now to the audience. I think what we'll do is we'll just raise hands and I'll come find you. So who's got a question? Okay,
so there's someone at the back.
Perfect. I'll find my way there. Do you want to? Yeah.
Sure. Hi. So mates and I, we do some wild camping. We cycle, we walk, we do bits here, there, and everywhere. What's the closest to your house that you've done a wild camp? And what's the furthest away?
Oh, dear. That's a good question. So the closest that I've actually camped to my house is a place called Riverlyn Valley. So right next to a little waterfall, I hammock camped. And I heard from one of my family members shortly afterwards that someone actually got murdered not far from there. So it was probably a bad idea. But I would say that Riverlyn Valley is 2 miles away from where it's not even that? Okay. It's less than 2 miles away. And the furthest I've camped, wild camped, I've camped on the Isle of Skye, but not wild camped. I would say Cairngorms in Scotland. So I had 3 days above 1,000 metres, and which wasn't the most pleasant, actually. Got to 1,000 metres, never saw a thing other than lightning. 3 days of that, and then drop below 1,000 metres, and then you get some beautiful views. Thank you for that.
Lovely. Next question. We'll go there. Come in.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me? Hi.
Just about.
Okay, I had a question and I've changed my mind on what it's going to be. So aside from the YouTube channel and changing your career, how has wild camping changed you as a person?
How has what?
How's wild camping changed you as a person? Aside from the career and the YouTube and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's, do you know when you put your phone on charge every night? That's what wild camping does for me. It recharges my batteries. It makes me feel alive again. It brings you as close to nature as you're ever going to get. Especially bivvy camping. If you've never tried that, it's not for everyone, but give it a bash. You're just staring at the stars. It is a wonderful experience, and you're never going to get as close to nature to that. It really grounds you and brings you back to reality.
I'd like to ask something about bivvying. Have you ever found so in Elkit, we have our Hunker bivvy. It's an open face bivvy, and we saw absolutely loads of them a year. Have you ever been scared of just bugs or slugs or anything like that, just crawling over your face, or getting attacked by a tarantula or anything like that? Because that's what you think about. You think that something is just going to jump out the bush.
I've never been worried about tarantulas, but That's the only thing missing from the hunker bivvy, is that it's not got bug protection. Bug protection. So I've bivvy camped in the Peak District and woke up next morning, and there's been slug trails all over me bivvy bag, which has not been nice. But I always have a bivvy that's got a bug net on it. For that reason, I've heard tales of people waking up with a slug in the mouth and stuff like that, which is not for me. I don't like bugs, don't like spiders, all that kind of stuff. My last camp in my tarpon bivvy, I had a head net on. That was it. So at least it stops things crawling in your ears, doesn't it?
Exactly. And because I work for HelpKit, we do sell a hooped bivvy. So if you don't want to have any of that, we've always got one for you.
Every day's a work day.
Of course, yeah. We've got to plug. I do work in marketing, so yeah, it's my job. Is there any questions? I'm going to go over here. I'll come find you in a minute.
Hello, Paul.
Hello, Harrison.
There's obviously lots to pack when going out for these wild camps and various walks. And like me, I'm sure you've forgotten something in the past. So the worst thing you've forgotten when you've reached the summit and suddenly realised.
Oh dear. When I've reached, I've forgotten a sleeping pad before, which was rather uncomfortable, and very cold as well. I've forgotten my frying pan before. This was the worst thing for me, worse than the sleeping pad. I forgot my frying pan. I got bacon, so I put it in my jet boil, and it was like, oh God, boiled, minging. You know, it's nice when your fat's all rendered on your bacon, but this was gross. But I ate it. Thanks for that.
Wow. Suppose we all do weird things in the outdoors.
I'm desperate to know where this spot is in Rivlin that you've been camping. It's right near my house. And I also have a more serious question.
Rivlin, so just down the road, do you know what's the Rivlin pub?
Yeah.
So you go down the hill from there, and then just turn right, there's a car park, little car park. You go down some steps, and there's a waterfall there.
Fair
In
enough.
the Rivlin Valley, it's a beautiful waterfall, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's a couple of trees. I had my hammock up there.
Clever. Okay, I have my actual question now. Can you not hear me? Can you hear me now?
Pardon?
Can you hear me?
Just.
Do you ever feel scared when you're camping? And if you do you have any tips for calming down?
So when you're wild camping, especially if it's your first time, I don't recommend going to woodland, because a lot of people go to woodland for the world's first wild camp, but there's lots of animals there. You hear lots of noises. You hear badgers standing on twigs and stuff like that, and you think that it is the abominable snowman, but it's not. So I actually think it's better to go on the hill. The only thing that scares me now is lightning. So wind I can cope with. I'll just like hold on to my trekking pole or whatever it is all night. But lightning, it doesn't give anybody any no forgiveness. So if it lands where you are, you're unlucky. So I always tend to get off the hill if I can, if there's lightning around. I definitely don't go out in search of it. I'm happy to go out in a bit of wind, a bit of rain, and some rough conditions, but lightning I avoid.
Thank you. Would you like to talk? Yeah.
What was your most challenging experience when wild camping?
Oh, it's a tough one. So the most challenging for me was I went up to the Lake District in the winter, and we were planning on staying in Warnscale Bothy, and there was snow everywhere, and I didn't take the correct gear. So if you're not equipped for it, then you're in trouble. I didn't have any spikes or micro spikes, so we overshot the path by about 50 meters, and when we came to come down, it was like coming down icy rocks, and I had no grip on me shoes. So I thought I was going to have to call mountain rescue. Basically, we slid off the rocks carefully and got ourselves back down again. When we got to Warren Scale, there were people in there already, and to be fair, they said there's no room in here. You need to move on, which is against the Bothy Code. The Bothy Code says everybody's welcome, even if you stood up all night. So we moved on to the next one, which is Dub's Hut, I believe it's called. Different kettle of fish in there. It was like being at the Alpkit Shakeout Festival. Everyone was friendly and welcoming. They let us in, and we had a great night, but it could have ended, very differently because I didn't have the right equipment. If you haven't got the right kit, sometimes you're screwed.
Lovely, thank you. Next question.
This is kind of a double question. Where's your favourite hill or mountain, and where do you want to go next? What's the one that really floats your boat?
Ooh, favourite hill. It's a tough one. I've got a couple of favourite hills. So the Peak District is like home, so I'm going to have to choose something in the Peak District. And I am going to say Mamtor, just because it's the views from up there are stunning. Sometimes the wind is just like, it takes the skin off your face. It's a beautiful place, but I love the area of Buttermere, and there's a few hills around there. Fleetwood Pike, Snockrick Fell, Granadale Knots. There's Buttermere, you can go on any hill or mountain around it, and the views are insane. So it's a really, really tough question. As for going, where am I going next? I probably need to think about that more, because I'm not that thoughtful when it comes for. I haven't got a plan as such. I'm just like making it up as I go along. I want life to be enjoyable and more spontaneous. I don't want to have this this diary. I'm doing this, and this, and this, and I'm enjoying life at the moment. So I don't know what's next. I'm excited by it, and whatever happens, happens.
Lovely. Any more questions? Perfect. Go for it.
Easy for you. How do you find manufacturers respond to negative feedback from reviews that you have? Do they accept it? Do they want to speak to you more and help develop the product? Or have you found yourself actually blacklisted from reviewing, from testing companies' kit?
To be fair, I'm not the sort of person that likes to just trash manufacturers. There have been some companies that I'm fortunate enough that if I want something, I can just sometimes say to a manufacturer, can I try this out? The gear that you see on the channel, virtually, less than 10% of it is stuff that they've suggested to me. Most of it is what I want to try personally. So I'll approach the company and say, can I try this? And they'll say yes or no. Most manufacturers are happy to take feedback. Others, not so. It's a strange one. Usually the bigger brands want to make better products, and they want to give a better customer satisfaction. They want to be the best at what they do. Other companies, they just want to come up with an idea, whether it works or not, take people's money. Whereas I don't want to blow smoke up Alpkit's bum, but when it comes to customer services, they're probably one of the best out there. You wouldn't be here now if you didn't think the same. I think that matters. Product development, customer services, taking on feedback. We all need it. Even me, I get feedback. I don't always like it, but I have to try and learn from it.
Lovely. I think that was a really, really nice sort of thing to hear. Anyone else still? Perfect. Here we go.
Hi there. When you were doing the YouTube and it didn't work out, how did you turn that around?
Ooh, now that is a big question to ask when I'm sat in front of everybody. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, to happen. I thought that I'd be a YouTuber and live happily ever after, and it didn't quite go that way. I cut out the things that didn't matter. You know, some things matter, some things didn't. The YouTube is what paid the bills, and it made sure we had a roof over our head, so I had to continue that. But the other things that, they're nice to have. You look at your Instagrams, Facebooks, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes camping is portrayed as a glamorous thing. It's not always. Sometimes it's grim. Sometimes the weather's rotten. You get drenched, and you accept that. Someone said to me once, camping's not meant to be comfortable. And I think that you just have to adapt a little bit. I had massive support from Gaffer over there, getting emotional, look on stage. Family, friends, all of that kind of stuff. They're the things that matter. Instagram doesn't, to me anyway. Facebook doesn't matter to me. End of the day, YouTube doesn't matter to me. It's just a way of earning money at the moment. And it's nice to give me this sort of lifestyle that I've got. It's not flash or anything like that, but it pays the bills, and I don't have to work in a factory. So I have to accept that it is part of my life now, but I need to accept it more as a job. I thought it would be a hobby that would just sustain things, and it's not. I still enjoy it, and I still treat it like a hobby. It's a fine line between it being totally commercial and business and all that kind of stuff. I could be a lot richer if I took offers that I don't feel comfortable with and all of that kind of stuff, but it doesn't make me feel right, and that is what matters to me. What is right for me and what's right for my family.
And you got the work-life balance, and wild camping has always been your hobby. Will you ever go out and just not shoot any content? Will you ever just go without any cameras, back to how it was when you first started out?
See, that is the biggest thing at the moment. As if I go wild camping now, I always take the camera, and I know I shouldn't. And like Joe said to me many times, just go and enjoy yourself. But I feel it's an opportunity. I enjoy making the videos as well, so I'm not knocking that. That is as enjoyable to me as the camping, but it's also the job as well. So the only time that I don't film nowadays is when we go family camping. So lots of people ask me about why is there no van videos and stuff like that. The van stuff, we go and we just do our own thing in the van. There's been odd times that I've started filming in the van and it's not gone right. Joe takes the mickey out of me because it don't go right. It looks all polished on YouTube. When you all these nice editing, but normally I'll say the same thing 3-4 times, and I'm stuttering, and she does and takes the mickey, and then I get Mardy. So I don't always film the stuff. I decided not to film the stuff in the van anyway, and you've got to have a separation between your family sometimes and the other stuff.
Wow. I suppose you're saying it's not always polished. You very much come across how you do right now in person is what you do in your videos. So you very much keep it very organic. But is there any more? Got one more here? Lovely.
Thanks, Paul. Really interesting so far.
Thank you.
Does YouTube give you feedback in terms of how many views you're getting from former viewers and how many are new viewers? And if it does, do you feel under pressure to change the way of your content to try and attract new viewers or try and reward the loyal ones who've been watching your videos previously?
Right. So first question, yes. YouTube does give you feedback so you can see returning viewers and new viewers and stuff like that. And that was part of the problem that I had. I was delving massively into analytics, and I need to do this, I need to switch that, I need to blah blah blah. Now I'm just making what I want to make, because I don't want to be chasing what the viewer wants all of the time. I still want to make you lot happy if you want to watch the videos. I still want to make something that is sort of entertaining, informative. I try and give you something that you might learn from in every video. Not everyone likes it. Some people like the gear, so everyone says that I push gear and I do this and I say, look at this tent, blah blah blah, and which is nice. I like the feedback, but I just want to make videos. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to, to make you watch something that you don't want to watch. I just want to make what I want to make. So if you don't want to watch, then don't. I found that difficult. I tried to please everybody, and I can't please everybody. I just have to do what I want to do and try and take out the negative stuff. There's a lot of positive there as well, and just go with the flow, really. Try not to let it bother me. Still does, because I'm human and my skin's not as thick as it should be, but just do what you can.
Lovely. Anybody else at all? We all good? Well, thank you very much, Paul.
No problem.
Really interesting, really engaging, and it's been great to hear. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I think we can all give Paul a massive round of applause.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. And what a way to kick off the weekend. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Enjoy. There's going to be obviously lots of music on tonight. There's going to be some films on. We've got a film going on at the Fireside Stage, Sheffield Adventure Film Festival, 2-hour showing. But hope you all have a lovely weekend and enjoy.
Cheers, Sam.